Alright, I think it's working. Hi. This is a late night test stream. Oh, right, I've got it going.
Okay.
Okay. If you want to share it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Show up on the channel first.
Okay.
Does it say live?
It says live, yeah. There goes Lupin. So, hi. This is a late night test stream because this is the first time that we have tried to stream directly to YouTube. And I don't know a lot about it yet. I'm still learning how to make this happen. The man was cool enough to set up this whole thing you see here where you can see me and you can see what I'm drawing. And hopefully I'll be able to draw big enough that this will be interesting. Tonight is kind of like an off the books, real boring stream. It's not really going to be related to breaking cat news. I'm going to be drawing a challenge that you may have seen on YouTube or social media the last couple of weeks, where people ask you, or you ask friends to give you 6 characters that they'd like to see you do fan art of. And a lot of my friends are also artists, and so a lot of people have been doing this challenge on my social media feeds, and I want to try it too. And so I asked my friends and family on my personal Facebook if there was anyone that they wanted to see me draw, and I got a lot of responses, and I got some really cool ones that I'm gonna try out here, so that this is more so I can kind of get used to what it looks like drawing on this, so that tomorrow, when I do the actual live stream for everyone, the draw along, I won't be so, all hands and awkwardness. I am still looking at the camera right now because it's all very new to me. And yeah, Lupin and Elvis are here in the room with me, but they are currently in cat beds. Goldie has just shown up. Here she comes. Oh, cool. She's like sneaking right up on Lupin, so that's going to be good. Lupin is sleeping in a cat bed on the desk, and Elvis is sleeping in a chair next to me. Um, I actually wish that there was a way to sort of do a third camera angle with my phone so that I could just like show you like a roaming cam. Goldie, come on. Goldie girl, come on. So that I could show you like a roaming. Oh, no. Oh dear. Well, here she goes. Oh. And there we go. The magic of live TV. Hi. Oh, you can stay up there. That's awesome. She's never done this before. Is it working?
It is, but you're not seeing your chat properly. Let me see if I can fix this.
Oh, yeah. Is there a chat?
Yeah.
Oh.
So they can talk to you.
Well, that's good. I didn't know there was a chat. We should get, like... Do you think we would be able to do this on my laptop at some point so we can make it, like, a permanent?
Yeah, we can try it.
Okay. Because that'd be cool.
Probably need to get your own camera and everything set up so you can turn it on really easy. But
yeah. Do I need to
so
sign
just like
up?
always set up. No, you shouldn't have to. But
This is why this is like the very quiet, sort of boring stream tonight. It's sort of like the at-home stream. Oh, yeah.
There you go. See, someone already said hi.
Hi.
Meagle Weber.
Hi, Meagle Weber.
We'll pop that out.
That's great. Yeah, we need to change the lag on stuff because it's really trippy to me that...
Well, you're not going to watch that anyway.
If I'm looking at the chat, though. I get confused very easily on camera.
Well, there you go. There's your chat window, and that should work now.
Yay! Oh,
now you can talk to people.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, as I said, I cannot stress enough. This is kind of like a late night, quiet, probably, maybe a little. I think it's boring because this is just me drawing. So to me, it's not that exciting. Hope maybe you'll really like it, and I hope you do. But this is really so that I can get used to drawing here and the camera and the chat and all of it before tomorrow at noon. I just really wanted to practice. So if you're just joining us, I'm going to be drawing 6 different fictional characters that friends suggested to me that social media challenge. I'm going to start by drawing the panels, which are going to be sort of my wobbly usual panels that you've all seen me do. And I'm deciding how I want to. No, I feel better doing it this way. Okay. So now I'm going to map out my panels. I got a whole bunch of suggestions of fictional characters for this, and a lot of the suggestions were really good. Uh, but my sister also like texted me partway through it, seeing it on Facebook, and she was just like, "Do these people know you?" Which was kind of funny because they do know me, but it's kind of characters that they want to see drawn, which totally makes sense. But a lot of the characters were kind of characters that I don't think like they wouldn't jump out to me, like they wouldn't be the character that I would just like be dying to draw. Like Optimus Prime is great, but I don't care. Like maybe I don't know, maybe I love robots. It's not a slam on robots. But I like doesn't really grab me, you know. However, Trevor's woman, my friend Amy, who I've grown up with since I was in 6th grade, she suggested Heathcliff from Wuthering Heights, and yes, number one suggestion, like absolutely, definitely A plus. So Heathcliff from Wuthering Heights will be here. Um, my friend Lindsay suggested The Crow and The Max, and those immediately got on there because I love The Crow by J.O. Barr. I love The Max by Sam Keith. Um, I have some type of seed from bread on my hand. Anyway, I love those characters, and those were comics that I read over and over and over. They're on the shelf over there on my bookcase. I read those over and over and over again as a child. The Crow, I think at one point I drew no exaggeration, I probably as a teenager redrew about 25 to 30% of the actual Crow comic. I just redrew it a lot. And my copy of The Crow is just in tatters. It's just destroyed. It's absolutely destroyed. Excuse me. Um, I read it 2 pieces. I didn't get a lot of great female suggestions, which was kind of a bummer. Um, I've actually thought that I might do this challenge again with characters that I just want to draw just for fun. And some of those characters would definitely be Gem. I couldn't believe no one suggested Gem. Uh, I feel like she'd be like a given. I haven't seen Gem drawn on any of them, which is really weird to me because I don't know. Gem's just spectacular. So I thought like I'd want to do Gem. I'd want to do the man and I today were talking about Tank Girl. I'd want to do her. Tank Girl is a comic I read as a teenager, but I really need to go back and revisit it because I've forgotten a lot of it. And I would want to do Delirium from Sandman. She was always one of my favorite characters. I used to draw the heck out of her in high school because she was really cool to draw in high school because she just changed a lot. So her hair was always different, her look was always different. She just let you do a lot of cool stuff. Yeah, it's close to 6 panels. Well, it is 6 panels, but what I mean is it's close to being even. Yeah, these look alright. I'm going to ink the panels so that I can at least erase the pencil and sort of get into... No, you know what? I'm not going to do that. I'll ink afterwards, because that way I can kind of break the panels if I want. I like to break the panels a lot. You've probably noticed that when I drew Bacon Cat News. Let me check in with the man, because we are testing this stream. How's it looking out there?
It's good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Is the sound okay and stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah? Yeah, I can. Okay. How do I know? Is anyone watching, or how do I know?
Uh, yeah, you have 9 people watching right now.
Oh, hi.
There's
You know, I can't see on this thing who's watching, so I seriously thought it would probably tell me. So I was thinking like, oh, there's no one on the
you should have
stream. That's
something.
kind of a.
Oh, there it is.
So hi. Now I'll be a little bit peppier.
I don't know.
Oh, Allie, thank you. Thank you for letting us know. Ollie, thank you.
I guess YouTube thinks it's
Yeah.
intriguing. Yeah, there's we can we can pop
I
something
know
up
this
that
is
will
like
show
really
you.
strange. No, that's okay. That's all right. I can get to drawing. I don't
It's
mind.
fine. Let's just want to check real quick if that is.
Okay.
Stealing stats thing the guy, huh? Well,
Yeah.
I'll
I
figure it
know,
out.
it's
By
weird.
tomorrow, I'll come up with something
That's okay.
so you can see it.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, people are watching.
All right. Well, if people are watching, then I'll get started. So again, just kind of like a chill sort of practicing drawing session tonight. Just so I can. Oh, hey, Kansas City! That's awesome. Thank you very much. My syndicate is out of Kansas City, so all the strips for Breaking Cat News go to Kansas City at the end of the week on Sundays. So let me get started, and I think I'm going to get started on Heathcliff from Wuthering Heights. Wuthering Heights, oh my gosh. One of my favorite stories of all time. I first read it probably when I was way too young for it. Like, way too young for it. 9 or 10, probably. And my opa was a really, really big fan of the Bronte sisters. So there was a lot of Jane Eyre, there was a lot of Wuthering Heights. I realized when I was in high school. Oh, wow! Queensland, Australia. Hello. Hello, Meagle. And hello, Leah. Uh, I thank you so much, everyone, for being here while I test this out and see how it all works. Um, but yeah, so my opa was a really big fan of Wuthering Heights, and I realized in high school, and fan of the Bronte sisters in general. I realized in high school when I read Jane Eyre in ninth grade that he had told me some of the passages because he would tell me a little bit of Jane Eyre every visit we had. I think probably when I was like 12. And I realized later he had told me many of those passages just word for word from memory. He had read it that many times, Jane Eyre. Excuse me. And Wuthering Heights was another favorite of his. And Wuthering Heights really grabbed me, and I still probably read it, I would say, maybe once a year. Maybe. But it's one of those books I know in and out. And I wrote a review on Goodreads. If you go to my author page, Georgia Dunn, I should have a review for Wuthering Heights on there that I'm pretty proud of because if I can say so, a lot of my Goodreads reviews are a little dry, but my Wuthering Heights one is very funny. Cause I think, because I knew so much of that, and I'm trying to give Heathcliff angrier eyebrows because he is oh, Delaware, Ohio. Hello, hello, Leah. Let me see. Show you some angry eyes. So this is one of the things I need to test when I try this tomorrow because I need to know how to show things a little bit closer. Um, I'm trying to see if there's a way that I can get the camera closer, but I don't think I know how to do that. Anyway. So I gave Heathcliff kind of angrier eyes. Heathcliff is a brooding dude. I'm going to give him some messy hair. Most of the passages in the earlier parts of Wuthering Heights are just about his windswept hair. That's it. Just pages and pages about how his hair got really windswept on those moors. Those moors are always beating their hair all over the place. I'm going to give him a pretty good nose. I don't like that nose. Heathcliff's a pretty handsome guy. We know that because he's described as swarthy. He's described as swarthy a lot. I'm going to put some pupils in his irises, which I don't do in Breaking Cat News all that often. Swan eaters, they do have pupils. They do have pupils in their irises. I'm gonna give them some kind of dark patches under his eyes. Heathcliff's a dude who would definitely have been listening to My Chemical Romance, and he was moody. Now, a lot of the pencil stuff I'm putting in here isn't really going to make it to ink for me, but it's a lot of fun. And actually, when I'm doing these fun character sketches that are just from my own funsies, I will probably leave a lot of the pencil in. Because when I do watercolor illustrations, sometimes I like to leave the pencils in. Yeah, this is a good Heathcliff. For me. Nope, he looks too happy. He can't look happy. Heathcliff was happy for like 20 pages. And the rest of it, he's just on those moors, flipping out. I'm gonna give him a big old tie. Because he's from a time period with really big ties. Give him one of those really stiff Bronte, sister, Jane Austen kind of coats. Also, like it's a bell coat. It's just a little sinister. It's like George Harrison in Help. It's a great coat, but it's just a little sinister. Do I use a special lead pencil that doesn't smear? I should. I use a Pentel Twist Erase GT. Ooh. Ooh. This is why it's a test stream. I use one of these. I should use something better that doesn't smear. Pencil is really just utilitarian for me, though. Like, I get it down and then it's gone. So I actually care more about if it erases really well, because I have to erase it pretty soon after I put it down. And a lot of the ink for me that's where I put in the permanent details. And that started because I'm left-handed and I smear everything like crazy. So I'm giving Heathcliff really shaggy, overgrown hair. A few sort of... He still doesn't look angry enough to me. Also, his eyebrows are just a little sculpted. Like, he's getting them done, you know? Nothing wrong with that. But Heathcliff's not that kind of character. He wouldn't really be caring about the upkeep of his appearance, you know? Now these eyebrows are getting a little Keith Moonish. Love Keith Moon. But again, didn't really fit Heathcliff. I want to give him kind of wolfish eyebrows. But I can also work on that a little bit with the ink. That's one reason why I really love working in pen and ink, because I get like a pretty good framework of what I want to happen with the ink. I also want to make his eyes a little angrier. He's too alert right now, and Heathcliff's not really like that. He is really mad. Life has not been good to Heathcliff. I'm going to get out my pen bag. Whoop. And so let me kind of show you where the pencil's at here. Oh no. Oh no. Nope. This is why it's a test stream. A little bit better. A little kind of... There you go. Here I go. If I bend it, you can kind of see him a little better. There he is. There he is. I'm going to bring Ryan in here real quick to try and see if we can get a little bit closer on the drawings themselves. Ryan?
Yeah.
Honey? Do you mind trying to get the camera a little bit closer to the drawing? I kind of have a tough time focusing it. Like a little closer down? If it can. If it can't, that's okay.
As far down as it's going to go.
Oh no.
You can zoom in on it, but I don't know how much this is going to help. Do you need to focus, change the focus on it?
Yeah, just like pull it down a little bit. It's because I work so small. it kind of might zoom in and out though too.
So the issue there is, if you start autofocusing, then you can do this. And,
Here, I just got that one.
People can see it a little better.
Is that focusing?
For like a split second.
I know, it looks like it's trying.
We can't like manually focus it every time you want to move it close, so that's the tough part.
Is there any way to zoom in more or no? Is it just as zoomed as it can zoom?
I mean, no, I can like make it bigger on the screen.
Yeah, because then I can kind of move around where I am on the page, because you know how small I work. So it's gonna kind of. Thank you for bearing with us, everyone. This is why it's the test stream. So this way we're not doing this tomorrow at noon when we're.
Like that.
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, we can mess around with it to try to rig something up to get it really close if you want, but I feel like that's any closer is gonna really get in your way.
Yeah, no, like, that's fine. Yeah, let's try that.
Okay.
All right.
Let me turn off the zoom, the autofocus.
Yeah,
thing.
please, because that's gonna probably.
Yeah, that's gonna.
I imagine it's gonna like try to zoom in on my hand and stuff. Looking at the chat. Oh yeah, Leah. It's a great book to revisit later on. Like I read it when I was very young, like I said, like 9 or 10, way too young. And then I read it again in high school and I really liked it. I liked it the older I got. I definitely I mean I always really enjoyed it, but I get more out of it now. Also, Heathcliff and Catherine are so toxic. It's seriously kind of like when I do the Goodreads review, I kind of equate them to like couples in Teen Mom or something, Kiefer and Janelle, or just like a really at each other's throats reality TV couple. That's really what a lot of the book feels like for the 1800s. There's stuff in there that you read that feels shocking for the 1800s. They're just always fighting. Okay. All right, I think that looks good. I'm going to start inking him. This is my pile of pens. I'm going to pull out the ones I use the most. Woo! Aw. And I use these for work. These are what I use for the comic. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I love Wuthering Heights. Of all the because I like a lot of books like Jane Eyre, Pride and Prejudice, those the period pieces, the classical like kind of fun ones. Wuthering Heights is the most messed up one, and that's like a really weird way to try to sell it, but it's so fun. It's really fun. Oh yeah. I'm still his expression will come out more when I ink him. Pencil for me is always very much the framework. So I'm probably gonna lean in on this pretty far. You're gonna see my terrible posture when I work. That's one of the things that this little screen is really gonna showcase during this. I really go down when I'm working. And I work very small. And I typically work right against the page. And a lot of this comes from when I was first learning to draw. I was drawing in notebooks in school, sort of secretly. Tomorrow on the stream, I'm actually going to be drawing as big as I can to show people how to draw characters in the book. So I'll actually be drawing mostly in this big space. But tonight, I'm just really trying to get comfortable with the stream itself. And the line between the eyes is an excellent idea. That would I plan on watercoloring these eventually, and that's when that would show up. I would make that more of a skin tone line. I also have to remember some of the shading I did in here because that's going to come out in paint more. Messing with his nose a little bit. A lot of that's going to come out in paint. The ink phase in when I do like illustration, more even more than the comic, the ink phase looks a little funny and a little flat because I kind of have to think in my head what I'm going to be doing with the paint too. Given Heathcliff some good cheekbones. And some of his jawline and some of his temple is actually obscured by his hair, so he's not quite this lean. I'm going to give him kind of a twisted little scowl. He's not having a good day. He's grumpy. He's on the moors and it's cold. I can hear my son in the next room. It is 11. It's 10:59 at night, so that tracks. He he's out of bed. He must be having a tough time sleeping. So with everything going on with quarantine and all of us being inside, anyone sleeping? I'm not. Almost no one I know is. Yeah, I'm like, I'm not a great sleeper to begin with. I'm a big night owl. But right before all of this started, I got into a much better routine and I was very proud of myself. I was going to bed at like 11:30 at night for the first time in my adult life. Because I'm like a 1 a.m., 2 a.m. girl. And then all of this happened, and now I can't sleep. And if I do sleep, I have real weird dreams. My kids are having a heck of a time sleeping. And yeah, so that's my how about that when it comes to sleep. So he is definitely popped out of bed, but like, who can blame him? We're all having a tough time right now. I'm gonna give Heathcliff like some good facial hair. I'm probably gonna be accused of drawing my husband because this picture is looking a lot like my husband. My husband's a handsome dude though, so I can't be blamed if he pops into my subconscious now and then. I'm giving Heathcliff a little bit of scruff because again, Heathcliff doesn't care about his appearance. Yeah. Yeah, Shannon, I feel you very deeply on this. Very little to no deep sleep. Yep. Yeah, the sleeping at stupid hours. Like that is happening to me a lot. But then I have like two kids who like bounce into the bed like gummy bears bouncing here and there and everywhere at like 8 a.m. And so I fall asleep at like 4. And that's only happened like that badly a couple of times, but it has happened. I can't sleep. We've been rewatching Rumpole of the Bailey late at night when we're going to bed, which is a very like I don't know. Rumpole is just like a very calming, sweet character. I love him. It's a rewatch for me. It's the man's first time watching Rumpole, and it's just super super calm, and that's been very nice, very comforting while we're going through this. So I'm working on Heathcliff's sort of disheveled clothes. The clothes will look super plain in the ink phase of this because my clothes are like 90% paint. The patterns, the fabric. If I do a tweed, I put some ink in there, but usually the fabric is the paint part of it. So it's going to look super weird and flat. Just to warn you. Yeah, she who must be obeyed. Oh, I love Hilda. This has made my quarantine. Oh, that's awesome. Thank you, Leah. I now see the boy. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. Oh, Tammy, thank you. I don't always paint my nails, but because I knew, actually, I don't always paint my nails because while I'm erasing, sometimes a little bit of nail polish will like get on one of the comics, which is like, oh, I'm better at not doing that. But I did it for the stream tomorrow, and also Star Trek fans or Deep Space Nine Star Trek fans may appreciate that I did them Ferengi blue. So these are my quark nails. My toes are too. Uh, oh, witness for the I will. Yes, witness for the prosecution. Thank you, Bill. I will. Hmm. We have been recently fantasy recasting Rumpole. Not that you could get anyone better than Leo Kern because he's amazing, but we were if there were new ones made today, we were kind of fantasy casting who we'd like to see, and I said I would like to see Nick Frost as Rumpole, and the man, my husband Ryan, said that he would like to see Stephen Merchant as Clauderskin Brown, which I thought was ridiculously perfect. Yeah. So we were talking about that. All right, I'm gonna continue throwing Heathcliff's clothes on here, so that I can move on to another character. And again, I'm gonna give him just a peek of a vest. I'm gonna give him a little bit of a scraggly pocket here. I'm sort of freelancing this, but I'm doing this because I would like to do a chain. I love a chain. I'm gonna give him another weird pocket. He's probably got like a weird haunted pocket watch. Just a peek of it up, just that. And I'm gonna do the rest of the chain. I love drawing a chain. I love drawing a chain. I love painting plaid. Just love a good chain. I played a lot of Dungeons and Dragons in my 20s and high school days, and I would be playing it right now. It's hard to schedule it with um, all the obligations of kids and work and everything else for me and my friends. And but I love D&D. I'm gonna give him a little. I'm gonna fix that line, just make it scraggly, because it's Heathcliff. It can be scraggly. Um, but I had a friend who played a chain master in Dungeons and Dragons in 3.5 Dungeons and Dragons, and I got to draw his chain master character, and that was really fun because it was just literally hundreds of chain links. And I had such a good time with that. I really enjoyed it. All right, gonna give him a real deep, severe collar. It's uncomfortable. I'll throw this in here. Like that there. Now I'm gonna do, you'll see, so I'm gonna emphasize the panel line here. And this is actually really similar to what I do with Breaking Cat News. So you can just see me draw a panel line. There you go. Boom. I like kind of having him peek out a little bit. Now this is so let me show the pens I use. Oh, yay. I'm glad I sounded Bob Rossy. I love Bob Ross. I have a Funko Pop of Bob Ross, and I might have it on the stream tomorrow. I don't have a lot of Funko Pops, but the ones I have, I think, are very, very telling. I have Bob Ross with Peapod, his squirrel, and I have Audrey 2 as an adult and Audrey 2 as a baby from Little Shop of Horrors. And my friend Amber had those first, and I saw them at her house, and I just love them. These are the pens I use. I love them because they are archival, and more importantly, they are waterproof, so I can use them with watercolors. And it's a .08. It's all scratched up because I use them a lot. And I'm going to do some swoopy hair. And because I am going to do these as an illustration, if it was the comic, I would be actually inking in all the hair. But because I want to do a watercolor illustration for these fictional characters for that social media challenge, I'm going to leave a lot of the hair open because I'm going to paint it. So I just get to kind of leave it. But I do want it to look like Heathcliff has not had a haircut in a while. I think this is like a post Catherine died in his arms. She did not die in his arms. That's not fair. She got really sick and swooned in his arms. Later she died, and then Nellie came out and told him, and he reacted like crazy and started howling like an animal and just like hitting his face into a tree. And that is why that is the best of those books to read. It's awesome. I haven't even gotten into the part where he bribes the sexton to like just just leave her coffin open just like a little bit so that he can leave when he dies, he can leave his coffin open a little bit, and then they can like get all like gross and dead to get. Oh man, it's a great book. True, spoiler alert. I'm sorry. I should have. But you, in all fairness, you've had like 150 years to read the book. Okay, I'm looking at this, and all right. I'm still getting used to like kind of the whole setup. That's why this is the test stream. Okay, so Heathcliff is pretty much drawn, and again, most of this will be done with paint at a later date, and I'll share these. That's like my interpretation of Heathcliff. So, and trying to think of the next one that I want to. The next character I want to do. Trying to think of some of the suggestions that people gave me, because people gave me a ton of suggestions, and then of course I have forgotten them. Let me take a look. Do. Sorry to pause so much here. I'm just taking a look at these. Oh, I got a really, really good one that I am going to look up a reference picture of real quick. Tomorrow will be much easier because I'll just be drawing my own characters. I won't have to really think about it. Okay. So now I'll begin to work on this character, and I'm not going to mention who she is quite at first. Because if I do an okay job, it'll become a little bit more apparent who she is. Hopefully. This was again one of the only girl suggestions I got. I had a lot of dude character suggestions, and I love a lot of dude characters. But I was surprised. I was surprised how one-sided it ended up being. And I don't want to just have 6 dudes. Because that's not fun to look at, you know, when you have just like 6 of one thing. It's not as fun. Hi. Now, what I like about this challenge is that they have you kind of your interpretation of the character as fan art, which I think is terrific and really fun. And I love seeing characters in different people's art styles. And so that is very much what this is as well. This will not look exactly like the character, but it will be how I would like to draw her and how I would like to see her drawn in my style and for fun. And so she is going to look like one of my little people that I draw. Give her a cuter mouth than that. And thank you for keeping me company tonight while I'm working on getting used to how this stream is going to work and operate tomorrow at noon. I hope that you tune back in tomorrow at noon for the draw along, where I will be drawing much larger. and also a little bit more slowly and talking a little bit more about what I am drawing at the time. I don't really like her eyes. I'm going to fix one of those eyes. No. Do my cats steal my pens when I am working? Or it is just Hemingway, you're a pen thief? uh, Lupin was actually named because he kept stealing the man's pens, and the man loves an anime that is about a gentleman thief, or the grandson of a Is it Rye? Is it a gentleman thief or the grandson of a gentleman thief? Oh, it's both. Called Lupin the Third, and so because Lupin kept stealing his pens, that's why we named Lupin Lupin. These guys they're all pretty good about leaving my pens alone when I'm working, but they do sometimes go after the paintbrushes, especially when they're kittens or when they're new. When they're kittens, they kind of need to learn not to do that, and then Goldie had to learn not to do that when she first came to, and it's a lot of patience and a lot of repetition, and they get it. I want her eyes to be a little bit more dramatic, because the eyes are really going to kind of be this character's, just sort of how I want to do her. So her hair, as I'm looking at it, it starts off kind of straight, and then she has thicker eyebrows too. I'm going to do thicker eyebrows. Again, it won't look exactly like the actress, but it'll look like how I would draw this character. This is how I'd like to draw her. You're going to hear all the little sounds that I make to myself when I'm drawing. Another one, she might kind of come a little bit more alive with paint. The pencil phase is sometimes very lacking, and the pen phase is sometimes very boring. But the paint is really fun. And in this one, she will be much more. How often do I need to buy new pens? It feels like I would go through a lot of them. I do. I need to buy new pens about once every 2 or 3 months. And I tend to go through the the .08 a lot more than any of the other pens, and I think it's because I draw all the panels and the bubble lines with it. So this, it'll come out much more with embroidery and with the color, because the dress would be white, and the crown itself is also white. Her hair is going to be blonde, And so this character, this is my interpretation of Princess Buttercup from The Princess Bride. That's how I would draw her if I was drawing her in a storybook. Now I'm going to ink her eyes very, very carefully. And I have said this before when I've drawn other things on other streams in the past. You can kind of mess anything up. But if you mess up the eyes, you have to start over. Because that is where, I think, that is where the audience of a picture, that's where they connect with a character or they don't. And that's where they follow what a character is looking at or they don't. And so the eyes are the most important part of anything I draw. In this case, again, too, she will be more rounded out by paint eventually. Tonight I'm just getting some of these frameworks down. My friend Angela had suggested this character. Thank you for bearing with me while I was being quiet. I just wanted to get all the facial features down. I need to concentrate on that. If I'm talking and doing facial features, she's going to get a weird nose. This is one of those opportunities to break through the panel line, so I'm going to take it with her hair. Just kind of pull her hair through a little bit. I think that'll look really pretty. The crown will be something that when I paint it, I'll probably go back over it with ink afterwards. I'll sort of define more of it with paint and then double define it with the ink and make some of the paint decisions look a little bit more planned out. Like, oh, she meant to have that dot look like a little bit of a diamond. Yeah. You know, more like maybe she's born with it. Maybe it's a mistake. Like, you don't know. It just looks good. And so the crown, I'm going to do some of the ink, but I'm going to really leave it open for the most part. And I'm going to add some kind of fun little inky parts here to make the crown look more elaborate than the pencil is showing it. I don't know if you can all hear Elvis is snoring a little bit next to me. I can hear him and it's adorable. Just throw some dots in here. I love little tiny details like this. You may have noticed that in Breaking Cat News in the comic. This is the sort of stuff that I really like. This is very relaxing to me. This is sort of like my knitting when I'm doing this late at night. I just like to, just add a bunch of stuff you don't really need to see. And just keep on going. That's my favorite. Kind of, this crown is looking a little bit too much like popcorn when it's in ink form. That's what a light wash of blue paint is going to take away. It's like, oh, is that popcorn? It's diamonds. Whoops. It's diamonds. The little wash of blue paint did it. There you go. Just throw in a few little dots. So right now it's kind of like a little beautiful mess. Sleeve, I'm going to give it like a little bit of a flow. just there. I'm sticking with the very, very thin pen because the fabric is delicate, so I just kind of want to give it a little bit of a soft treatment. And bring a little double layer over here. Again, another little double layer. And some of this little eyelet lace. So I have the lines to guide me where I'm going to put the sort of more pearl looking items. Alright, now I'm going to ink this panel too. Nope. There we go. I do have people ask me a lot how I get the lines so straight for the panels in Breaking Cat News. They're all done by hand. I don't have any templates for the panel lines or anything in Breaking Cat News. And I will have people ask, "Oh, how do you get the lines so straight?" To me, they're not. To me, they have like all these little squiggles and stuff. And I kind of, I don't know. I also kind of like the look of that. Like I like the charm of like, it's not perfect. There's like a little bit of a shake to it here and there. I just like sort of a Dr. Katz look to it or something, and I really like that. If they do look very straight to you when I draw them, that is awesome, and I don't know. I've been doing it as long as I've been an adult, and definitely when I was a teenager, and it worked out. What are my least and favorite? Oh, one of my favorite things to draw and my least favorite things to draw or paint. That's awesome. Thank you. What a great question. Thank you, Tammy. Some of my favorite things to paint are like rust, and actually like I used to do a lot of like zombie and horror paintings and stuff, believe it or not, and mold and lichen and things like that. I really enjoy painting, but really rust and rundown metal because of watercolor. It's a really fun thing to paint. Drawing, I really enjoy fantasy characters, very much like this Princess Bride drawing. I like fantasy characters. Comic wise, obviously, I like to draw cats, so that works out really well. My least favorite things to draw: horses. Definitely horses. Horses, deer are up there. Giraffes. Really, any animal that is basically just made out of knuckles. You know what I mean? Like, everything on a horse is a knuckle. It's not a leg. It's just like a really long, weird finger that, like, ends in a fingernail that's a foot. It's not natural. I don't like drawing them. They weird me out. A little nervous around them, too. So, yeah. You think a deer is real majestic, and then you try to draw it, and you're just like, wow, this entire creature is just knuckles and eyeballs, and it eats your trash. Back home in New England, we have trash deer, and trash deer eat your trash, and they tear your trash up and throw it everywhere. So yeah, definitely horses and deer. I don't wish them any harm. They're beautiful, beautiful, majestic creatures. And you can't capture them on paper. It's really hard to draw. I also don't love drawing hands, and it's really the same thing because it's another creature just made out of knuckles. Maybe I just don't like drawing knuckles. But I'm actually trying to get better at drawing hands. I need to do the thing where you draw hands 100 times. The man did that in college, and he's terrific at drawing hands. Oh, I would love to have a Netflix special. That'd be amazing. Thank you. Um, I have not seen the mini strips done in the margins of Mad Magazine. I might have. I might have when I was much younger, because I did read a lot of Mad Magazine when I was younger. I recently found out, this is just an anecdote, I found out that my mom in the 60s was reading Mad Magazine as a young teenager, and my opa found it in her room, and he did not appreciate it, and he was a Navy captain, and so I knew him as a warm, whimsical storyteller by the time he was my grandfather. But when he was a father, he was still a Navy captain, and finding Mad Magazine in his young teenage daughter's bedroom, he was just like, "What is this? What is this filth? I love the Bronte sisters. This is a lot." And my nana went to bat for my mom and for free speech. Ed was just like, she's a great student. My mom ended up being salutatorian, I believe. She had some very high honor. And yeah, my nana was just like, she's a great student. She does all her work. She reads constantly, and she deserves this. Just let her have it. And I thought that story was really awesome and really cool of my nana. And my mom also suspects that Nana may have been like reading them while my mom was at school, which also seems really possible. So I don't know. I just found out that story out, and I thought it was pretty cool. And yeah, so I've got two characters now. I think I'll do one more. Let me see. Let me kind of get this drawing a little bit close. So you can see it's not exactly, it's not exactly classically Princess Bride from the movie precisely, but it's my interpretation of what she would look like in a drawing that I would do. And I know who I want to be the next one to show up on here. So let me grab some reference images again. Doo-doo-doo. Give me one moment, if I may. Hi, Elvis. Seeing if something was easily on hand, and it is not. It is buried in my bookcase. So, forgive me. Let me look for the reference. Oh, I was a little nervous doing this before I started, especially for tomorrow when, it's going to be, it's been more sort of, I've been sending out reminders like, hey, everyone show up at noon and I'll draw for you. And that can be a little nerve-wracking sometimes. So I was a little nervous, but I'm feeling much, much better now that I've been able to practice here with all of you. Thank you very much. There's an angle I want from this character that I am not seeing, and I think I might have to do myself. So I'm going to get a different reference. Hey, buddy. There we go. Yes. This is, if you can't see, this is the Max. He's the next one I'm going to draw. I love the Max. Oh, Nanas are the best. Yes, they are. Ooh, very cool. Bill, I will look into that. Thank you. Alright, I'm going to let this guy just kind of sit here. Yes, so I love the Max. And I found the Max the way many teens did in the 90s. I saw it on MTV. And I loved the cartoon so much that I went and found the comics. Devoured the comics, and they are quite possibly the best comic books I ever read. They do delve into some very serious material. If you've never heard of the Max, maybe look into them first before you read them, because there is some sensitive material that can be kind of upsetting. But basically, it's this like gorgeous fantasy comic about is he a superhero? Is he not? He jumps between two worlds, and he can only see one of them. and the world that he can see is very, very surreal. The outback, where he's incredibly powerful, he's very strong, he can protect the Jungle Queen, who has a real world counterpart in his psychologist, Julie Winters, psychologist or social worker, Julie Winters. It's a great comic. It's really, really well done. And that was one of the characters that was suggested to me, and I would really love to do. And so I'm going to try to draw him here a little bit and make him fun. The Max is sort of a Wolverine built character, by which I mean the X-Men Wolverine, that he is short and stout. I love Hugh Jackman's portrayal of Wolverine. He's terrific, but his body type's all crazy wrong. Like, for sure. But he's terrific. He's worth it. It was worth it to make it him and just kind of change it. But one of the best things about Wolverine in X-Men in the comics is he's sort of built like a little tiny Mack truck with claws. And he is a teapot sort of hero. He is short and stout and very compact and really fun to draw. I used to love to draw Wolverine in high school and make him all hairy and the hair, because we were all very into the X-Men cartoon that would come on Fox TV in the afternoons. My dear friend Amy, who is Trevor's real life woman, she was really into it, super into Gambit. It was great. Wasn't it great? It was really good. Anyway, enough about Wolverine. Uh, Max is great for the same sort of like giant stockiness. He is all shoulders in a really intense way. And when he is in the outback, which is, I'm going to draw his really cool sort of headpiece that he wears, because it's another great opportunity to break out of the panel, and I love those. And I'm going to add some things to it that aren't even in the comic, like just random like little beads hanging and just some kind of fun stuff. But he has sort of a different shape and silhouette to him when he's in the outback, because he has this like wildly cool flowing mane. But when he is in the real world, he is almost uncomfortable all the time. You can see how large he is and how deeply he is sort of trying to crouch himself smaller and in a protective way in the real world. It's very clear he's sort of trying to keep himself safe when he is out of his element. And it's kind of this great, interesting thing that he is out of his element in reality, which is sort of a bummer. These are his big, weird teeth, which are great. He's another character. He is going to be predominantly paint. He's going to be a lot of paint. He's going to be a lot of really cool paint. I'm going to make his hair all wild and flying all over the place. More beads. He didn't really have beads. I just want to give him some cool beads because I like to draw stuff like that. Yeah. Yeah, I wish I could have gotten one of his claws in there, sort of, in, you know what, maybe I can sort of throw one in here. I wish I had gotten he has these big yellow claws that are just great. Oh, Tammy, Gambit was hot. Yeah, he was. Actually, kind of funny thing. Goldie's look, like her trench coat and everything, when I was trying to draw Goldie's outfit in the comic, I kept kind of like, my short reference for it was Gambit-ish. And so her look was very Gambit-ish. And the coat was originally going to be brown until I painted it and realized, oh, dang, this just looks like Bert. So, because Bert wears a brown leather bomber coat. So I changed it to blue, and then a lot of people have sort of equated her to Doctor Who, and I kind of think it's because I gave her this long coat like the female doctor and many of the doctors. But also it's like TARDIS colored, which it worked. It all worked. So, oh, thank you for loving my description of the thing. Thank you. So here's, see, this is again, please forgive which finger he's showing. It was a comic from the 90s, so it was very in your face. But he has these great big yellow hands and these like large hulking claws. There you are, Max. There you go. There you go, buddy. Just show up in there. So I do want to get one of his claws in there because they're just they're a really big part of him and they're cool to have. Gonna throw in a knuckle. There we go. So I think that's gonna be my Max drawing, which I like. So I'm gonna start to ink it, and I'm gonna give it sort of a mid, the 0.05. Really. Oh man. You know what? There's something I need to add to this. One moment. Reference photo. If you know the Max, you know what I'm probably adding. And is these little creatures that he has to fight all the time, and they are the worst. By worst, I mean they are a lot of fun. I could not have one. Okay, now I've got an is in there. That feels better. Now, he is going to be mostly paint when I do him, so I am giving him some kind of interesting ink lines because there aren't going to be a whole lot of them, so the ones that are there sort of need to be fun and stand out. And I'll probably leave a lot of his pencil shading in too when I paint him. When I do share the paintings of these, I'll be sure to share them on the Breaking Cat News social media too, so that everyone who was here tonight can get to see these. I've been told I draw very fast, which is great to hear. I had never kind of realized it until I had a lot of friends who are also cartoonists or also artists, and I didn't realize how fast I do draw and ink things. It is very quickly. I'm pretty proud of these 3 drawings for only the amount of time that we've been streaming. That's pretty good. I don't really know why or what the difference is. Again, so much of my drawing was drawing in school when I was supposed to be taking notes or supposed to be doing other things, and so I think I just got really good at getting in there and fixing it really fast. Oh, thank you, Leah. Yeah, this one came together really fast. I needed this guy as like the reference to just really see the proportions of his head. But I really like this is one of those characters just sort of burned into my mind. And I have drawn him many times when I was younger. Like Eric, when I do draw Eric from The Crow, I don't even think I need a reference for him. It's I drew him so much. Everyone. I drew Shelley a lot. I drew the cat Gabriel a lot. You know, he has kind of sleek hair behind him, so I'm going to give him a few like little sleek pen marks. And then something kind of, a lot of this. Sam Keith, if you don't know the Max and you don't know Sam Keith at all, he is really worth looking into. He is an incredible artist and watercolorist, just amazing. In our lifetime, if he's not the best working comics watercolorist, I haven't seen who is. Like he's just incredible. He's on a just an entirely different level. Um, and does not get mentioned as much as he should, I think. I just love him. I really, really love his work. He is one of my favorites growing up. He's someone who made me want to look into watercolors. He's someone who makes me want to continue to try and get better at watercolors. Especially just some of the effects that he can do are really, really awesome. I hate these lines. I don't like the way they came out at all. I'm gonna have to fix a lot of this with paint because I really don't like the way that these lines here came out, but it's fine. That's why it'll come out good with paint. I'm happy otherwise. I'm gonna throw in a few guidelines for myself for when I do paint. These are just sort of like soft illustratorly uh, ink lines that I can hold on to where I know I want to put like muscle tone and stuff. And then the great part about those is when I do paint them, they sort of fade off into the background. So here's the Max. Woo! Big grumpy cool Max. Um, hmm. Hmm. I'm deciding whether or not that's where I am tonight. I kind of think it is. I think I might kind of I think this might be where I settle down tonight because 3 of these is pretty good. And I definitely, now I know how the camera moves with the page and what I sort of need to do while I am drawing and especially tomorrow, I will be working much bigger. So, which will be a challenge for me. If you watch it tonight, you'll know that me drawing bigger is not as easy for me. I'm not as good at that. I can do it. Actually, there are several paintings that are like really big that I've done that exist. Um, but it's a flex. It's very different for me. I work very small. In fact, this is a good opportunity to pull out some of the Breaking Cat News originals to show you how small I work. This is perfect. Actually, this is the strip from today. So this is a painting. This is the actual, I inked this, I painted this. This is what it looks like. This is what a full page looks like. I can try to pull the camera up a little bit to show you. Woo. So there you go. Here, Max, I'm going to have you sit over here. Nope. Okay, I'm going to stop moving the camera. But yeah, so this is what one of the paintings looks like. You can see, this is how big Lupin is when I painted Lupin. So Lupin is, when I drew him and painted him, he is much smaller than a thumbnail. His little beads of sweat are itty bitty bitty. And Elvis with his friendship bracelets. I know how to make friendship bracelets, and I keep thinking that I should try to do like, I don't know, a tutorial or something now that we have like friendship bracelets in the comic. And while we're all quarantined, that might be kind of like a fun arts and crafts thing, I guess. But yeah, I used to make hecka friendship bracelets all the time, constantly, because I was a kid who had to go to summer camp. And I made the staircase ones with the knots, where you kind of keep tying knots and then they line up like a little spiral staircase on a friendship bracelet. And they're pretty cool. You do bands of color. They're like the ones I painted here. Oh my god, Frank! Frank! Hello! FC Racers, I'm sorry. I don't mean to call out your real name like that in the chat. I'm sorry. FC Racers, who is a good friend of mine. Yay! Let me see if there's anything else in here that I can show you like the quickest glance of the comics I'm working at right now. This is this week's. These are what rough drafts look like when I sign them in. Oh, hugs FC Racers. If you, hopefully you cannot see all of these spoilers, but this is what a page of the roughs look like. That's just pencil. So that's what I should have been doing tonight. I should have been inking these. But I can catch up on that tomorrow. That'll be fine. And this is, I'll give you a sneak peek of a story that is coming up. First, this is the painting I did of Puck the other day. you can see down here, originally this was going to be the stamp. It was Puck smiling. And then I thought, no, it'll be funnier if it's Elvis looking all puffy. That'll be really funny. This is where you can see my math of I wanted to kind of figure out how many adults over 18 there were in America and how much it would be if they each bought a book of stamps. I had to keep it straight in my head. But the stamps were going to be Angry Elvis. And then I kind of started thinking about it, and I was like, you know what? I need this to translate at a glance for people who also don't read the comic. And so hearts kind of, they seem to be the shorthand version of love the post office and take good care of them because, wow, we really need them. They're incredible. The mailman is based on a real person I know in real life. If you live in Oakland, Rhode Island, Oakland Beach, Rhode Island, in Warwick, he's your mailman. He's a very good friend of mine named Nate, who is every bit as magical as he is in the comic. Nate is a terrific good sport, and I asked him if I could use him as the basis of the mailman in the comic, and he was very kind enough to agree. And I have a storyline coming up this summer that is going to bring the mailman in much more in like a really kind of fun adventure way. And also, they're going to sort of start to understand that he's not the only mailman in the world. Because right now they think he's the only mailman in the world. Which is why, of course, Puck says, I believe in mailmen. Because, like, they're not thinking there are others. But they've only just begun to find that out. So here's a quick little, like, peek at, and I'm asking, please don't put some of this in the comments of Go Comics. But you can see that a storyline is coming up with poor Pengo, and Pengo needs to be helped, and Pengo needs to be rescued, and that is coming up in a week or two. And I'm very excited about that. Also, I make this very stupid joke that I'm very proud of in the comic, where they're reading a story, and the story is where the boys are. Some boat waits for me. It's so dumb. But I really love really stupid jokes. Like, I try to put really, like, good thought out jokes into the comic as often as I can, but I cannot resist a really dumb joke. And it is one of the dumbest ones I've ever written, and I love it, and I can't wait. Yeah, so these are some of the storylines here. There are some slight spoilers on some of those. Try to see if there's anything kind of... Here's a picture of Pengo that my daughter did, which was later put into the comic. And yeah, oh, here's something you might, I don't know if you'll find this interesting or not. These are, I said there were no templates for the comic. That's not entirely true. I did make with Sharpie and cardstock. I made the space of the comic to work in, and so I laid this down and I lay a piece of paper over it, and then I trace out the space, and so then I make the panels in between that afterwards. And in the beginning of quarantine, to try and take some of my stress off myself, I made a bunch of these ahead of time, which you can see. And I made enough for 2 months of strips so that at least I wouldn't be, like, stressed out making the frames for myself. Like, why would that stress me out? But, you know, it's just one of those things where you sit down and you think, like, oh, I have to draw out the frames. It's like one little thing that if I can do for my future self helps me. So I helped my future self out by making these. And I'm already over halfway through them. And that's kind of wild. I didn't, you know... Oh, the beginning of this, I don't think any of us really realized the scope of it or quite how long it would last. I think they've made the right decisions in making us slow everything down. I'm very in support of us being home right now and protecting others and slowing down the spread. Whew, but wow. Yeah, Tammy saw that. Yeah, there's some slight spoilers for tomorrow in that one. I'm sorry. I didn't realize that when I pulled it out. But yeah, so I think this is going to be the stream for tonight. This was the test stream just to check it out and just to see how how this was going to work where I'm looking at this. I can't really see myself in this. It's like a really tiny, tiny, tiny square, which I think is pretty good because I'm like a parrot. If I can see myself, I zero in and I really pay attention. So it's good I can't see myself. And I can really see this, which is cool. And I can see the chat, which is good. And so I think I'm ready for tomorrow. I want to do this more. I really, really want to do this more. We have a lot of readers who are not on Facebook. And so when I do the Facebook Lives, it's great for everyone who's on Facebook, but it's kind of a bummer for everyone who's not. And especially like the Twitter users have been really vocal about it. And I don't know how Twitter Live works, and I don't really want to get into that because I really don't know it. And Twitter is, oh, I love the people I interact with on Twitter. They're so sweet, and I'm very, very fortunate that they're very sweet. Sometimes I peek into Twitter and it like scares me. Twitter can get so mean so fast. So I get a little nervous about putting live videos just like out there. And like it's not like YouTube doesn't get mean real fast. Like it sure it does. But I don't know, it felt a little bit easier trying to do these on YouTube. I was originally going to try to do them on Twitch because that's where I used to do streaming, where I would paint live. And I still really like Twitch. I did have a dear friend who's only in comics, who does not, they're not in gaming, they're not on Twitch, they're not, they had no previous experience with Twitch. And I had sent them to Twitch to take a look at my Breaking Cat News channel, and they gave me the very honest feedback of, I don't know what Twitch is, but this feels like a weird adult site that I got to by accident. So you should probably move it to a different site for everyone else who doesn't game. And now I can't really unsee it. So, like, I think Twitch is awesome if you know what Twitch is, because I love Twitch. I think Twitch is like, I love to watch paint-alongs and art things on Twitch. I love watching speed runs on Twitch. I love watching gamers on Twitch. FC Racers is on Twitch. Speedrun and Celeste, he's terrific. It's really good. Twitch is great. But it did make me pause, that I realized like there are a lot of kids who watch, who read the comic. There are a lot of people of all ages. There are a lot of people of, varying degrees of being on different parts of the internet, myself included. And so it felt like YouTube was probably the most known and trusted site to try this on. And if you are kid friendly on YouTube, there are safer ways. Any my kids know that they're not allowed to put YouTube on by themselves. I have to be there because I'm just nervous that they're going to come across something weird. But for the most part, parents, I think, trust it a little bit more if they're in the room. So this is why I'm trying it on YouTube right now instead of other places I've streamed before. But it's really new. Like, it's a learning curve for me. I haven't done this on YouTube at all. And I'm really grateful that the man let me set this up before at night. I'm doing this because there's a giant, giant lamp over me. I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, there it is. There's the mothership. There's a giant, giant lamp over me, which I also asked if he could put in here because the lighting was a little weird and like there was a big shadow where I had to draw. And he was a sweetheart and he did that for me, which he's so amazing and so good. He's a real life AV tech cat, and I could not have streamed like this without him. So yeah, so he was cool enough to have us try this out tonight so that I could just kind of get comfortable with this and how to use it. So yeah. Whew. So tomorrow's the big day. Trying to do a draw along. Tell your friends with kids. I'm gonna try to do it in a way that it would be like a cool mini art class for kids who are distance learning or homeschooling right now, which are my kids included, and literally every kid we know. I don't know a child who's still in school right now. I don't know a teacher who's still in school right now and not doing distance learning. And also, if you're working from home, it might be kind of a fun thing to have up. Maybe, I don't know. I am going to try to make a video of it so that if you can't watch it at noon Pacific time tomorrow, that maybe you can come onto the channel and watch it later. So, yeah. All right, I am going to try. I'm looking at the chat. Thank you, everyone. Um, thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. So I didn't have to do this alone. And this is like obviously much more casual and not professional level of doing this. That I'm wearing my pajamas for one. So I'm in my jammy jams. This is my robe, and this is like the robe sort of based on in the comic, although mine in the comic is orange. But little, much more casual than one of my usual streams, just because I had to get comfortable with this so that I'm not double checking it tomorrow when I'm live. I get nervous about stuff like that. And yeah, okay. So I'm gonna try. You're gonna see me, stay on and watch me fumble with how to turn this off, and I will see you tomorrow, live here on this channel at noon Pacific time. So that will be 3 p.m. Eastern time. I should get to a point where I can run down all the times because I know that we have people watching from all over, and I'm so grateful to you. And if it does happen to be at a very strange time of day for you, I'm sorry. I will try to do a few other times for streams because I know the London crowd in particular, they get left out of a lot of streams, and they get they let me know. Okay, so I hope everyone has a great night. May we all somehow fall asleep before 3 a.m. And if you do dream and the dreams are vivid, let them be nice dreams and not weird stress dreams that we all forgot our history class this year. Okay, all right. Have a great night, and I will hopefully see you tomorrow.